Jean-Sébastien, Michel, and Kalina César are the main figures behind Alkadémie Alambika, the new cocktail bar and event space behind the bar supply store Alambika on Saint-Laurent Boulevard in Montreal. You might recognize the name as a place that always pops up in online searches for things like tonic syrups, multi-tiered jiggers, muddlers, cocktail shakers, whiskey ice bombs, and nosing glass lids. And if you haven't done any of those searches yet, maybe you recognize them from cocktail events where they've had a booth full of a ton of their products to taste. Back in 2014, Ian Harrison of Eater Montreal wrote that Jean-Sebastien, the owner of the shop, was arguably one of the most passionate and progressive vendors of carefully sourced cocktail, craft beer, spirits, and wine accessories in North America. Since then, it's gone from a cult favorite to a well-respected shop and moved last year from its original location in Outremont to a former garage in Little Italy, or Mile X. Jean-Sebastien called it a toy store for grown-ups, specializing in local handcrafted cocktail ingredients. No large companies, no big brands, he said. Business was presumably booming, and the next step was the Alkadémie Cocktail Bar, a self-described experimental bar that was set to open on March 26, 2020, complete with cocktail and natural wine classes, tasting nights, guest international bartenders, pop-up events, and themed food menus. Head bartender Kalina César joined Jean-Sébastien in the Alkadémie project after working at Hotel Herman, Le Filet, and Marconi restaurants. But they had horrible timing. The opening was delayed until mid-August because of COVID-19 and just recently opened 3 nights a week and only until 11 p.m. unless it's really busy. Now, things have changed in what they can offer, but since I haven't been there yet myself, I thought it'd be a good idea to invite Jean-Sébastien and Kalina onto the show to tell me and you about those changes themselves. Here are Jean-Sébastien and Kalina. Welcome, Jean-Sébastien and Kalina. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
So a lot of things have changed since you were planning to open this cocktail bar. But before we get to kind of the business side of what you do, how about you make some drinks?
Well, sure.
Wonderful. We'll start with something very fresh. It's going to be a kind of cross between a daiquiri and a pina colada. So we're going to use some pineapple syrup. So it's going to be a pineapple daiquiri.
That's some of your shop's pineapple syrup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? You make your own? Okay.
No, we don't make our own. It's Pro Sirop, the one that we sell. And it's like fresh pineapple, but very ripe pineapple. And then it's a bitter made out of pineapple and star anise. It's going to be a bit of this too.
I wish I could taste that.
Yeah, I'm going to make you one next time you come. And then we're going to add some white rum. So it's rum from Haiti. It's called Barbancourt. Very famous. But we use less the white version, I find. So 2 ounces of rum. And that's going to be our daiquiri. Ice. It's going to get a little bit noisy after that.
The miracles of podcasting, I can edit.
Yeah. There you go. Only one. Okay. So it's quite frothy because of the pineapple. The texture is very nice. It almost looks like there's some coconut milk in there, but it's just the syrup. So this is just one of the many variations that we can do with this cocktail, with all the syrup that we have.
And is that on the menu right now?
It will be. It can be. I can
it
make
can be.
So yeah, it can definitely. It will be. It was a work in progress, but yeah, I think it's very good now. So.
Well, I'll tell you.
Yes, he's the judge, so he can say.
So are you making drinks for each other? Jean-Sébastien, are you going to make one for Kalina now? Or are you just testing to make sure she's good?
Well, I will be, at that trade, I will be the one winning because she's way better. So basically, I'm owner/busboy, but I usually don't make the drinks.
Okay.
He can pour mean beer, though. That he can do, so.
That's a skill.
I can still make a cocktail that has been, let's say, a staple of mine for long days and good days. So it's basically a twist on an old-fashioned. So I'm really a big guy about spirit-forward cocktails. But I make a twist. I replace the simple syrup by passion fruit syrup. For me, often I find that simple syrup, so simply it's water and sugar, it's a missed opportunity to bring complexity to a cocktail. or other, actually, I like passion fruit, but other exotic syrup can work too with this. And I replaced the bourbon, the whiskey, by rum, and use a really aromatic type of bitter. It's like many people know Angostura bitters, so the narrow bottle with the label that is way too high. This is a twist on it. So Angostura created its own category, which is aromatic bitters, and they are now like offshoots. And this one is pretty much my favorite of the bunch. So
why is that one your favorite? What's so good about that one?
It's like Angostura on steroids. It packs so much punch. You don't need to put a lot of it, and how could I say? There's so much spices in it and complexity that it really makes for a trip in the Caribbean. In it. So
the last place I actually had a rum old fashioned was in Barbados, and it was so good.
Actually, I have two that I really like to use, either passion fruit, or this is a mix of passion fruit, grapefruit, hibiscus. It's a bit more tangy than passion fruit. So when it's really hot, I switch passion fruit for that.
The fun part is picking the glass. That's my best part.
And you have so many glasses there. We're going to talk about some crystal later, but Diplomatico.
I kind of like them.
Yeah, me too. Your guest bartender for your first month was the one who introduced me to that a long time ago at tasting at Kalina César.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day.
Like everything's the same orange color. It's very nice.
And the huge chunk.
Oh, beautiful.
Your eye. Actually, you may know that we work with blacksmiths and we import a lot of Japanese knives and saws and different tools. So basically we work a lot with blacksmiths, local as well. So we had one create us, so there's like 10 ends in the picture right now. So basically it's just a handle for a logo for the ice.
Oh, cool.
Damascus steel. So it's totally useless, but what makes it so fun. So with this, we can stamp the ice cube. Usually we do it before ahead of time, because you don't have to fight with an ice cube in a glass.
Yeah.
When you do it, but it brings some to the challenge.
Pressure is on.
But you're not drunk yet. So usually I will add some Luxardo cherry or Filthy Food cherries. So cherries that are candied in their own syrup. But it's still early in the day. Don't feel like a dessert. I want something a bit more dry.
A little more refreshing. Great. Well, I have another rum drink too. I was inspired by you to up my cocktail game. So I used the Santa Teresa Venezuelan rum to make a blueberry daiquiri.
Nice.
Because I had infused some blueberries with the rum when I went picking a month ago. So I really tried hard on this drink because I was like, their drinks are going to be really good. Mine at least needs to look good. Nobody needs to know if it tastes good. I don't think you should hire me, for example. But cheers, Santi.
You?
Every time he takes a sip, he's like, oh, wow, that's very good.
I think that's important in your job, probably, to really enjoy it. So let's get really quickly through a lightning round just to break some ice, not to stamp some ice. That's a really horrible pun. See, and I'm not even drinking yet. So, okay. So I have to ask a bartender a couple things about your favorite cocktails. So it's hot and humid and sunny outside. What's your go-to cocktail?
I'd say bubbles. So Aperol Spritz, I would say if it's outside, it's going to be bubbles. Yeah.
Beautiful. And if it's freezing and minus 30, what are you drinking?
The only time I drink very heavy body red wine. It's the only year I would choose this. The only time in the year.
Over a cocktail. Wow. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
We'll go with classics like martinis and old fashioned. And this for me feels like it's the equivalent of comfort food. So like a martini by the fire or an old fashioned when you get back from snow shoveling.
Yeah.
I like that you chose shoveling, not like snowshoeing or something like very like fun in the outdoors. Like, no, something you really don't like and you want to drink after.
You need a reward. There you go.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of rewards, best after dinner digestif. That always makes me think of kind of like a reward to your evening.
Yeah, I'd say either Amaho or Grappa, but Italians do it best. Whatever Italian they have, that's what I'm gonna pick.
I'll go with the Amaro as well, but I'm a huge fan of eau de vie. Grappa is one of the eau de vie type, but now you have access to melon, to raspberry, and I really hope that in Quebec there will be more and more of those distilled fruit with like no sugar added whatsoever. So this is an enough meal, even to to replace or to pair with the dessert. It's an awesome combination.
Pear. That was a good reminder of one of my favorite after dinner fruits. What were you drinking for most of COVID?
I used to have a really great collection of spirits, but that was before COVID.
Now you've whittled it down.
Actually, I had quite amazing recycling boxes, like full of bottles that were fun to drink, let's say. So I felt it was the good moment to go through some of the whiskeys and Armagnac. I'm a huge Armagnac fan.
Yeah.
So now, I drink less.
But were you mixing a lot? Were you coming up with drinks, or were you just drinking your whiskeys and on their own?
I tend to drink it straight pretty much all the time.
Okay. I won't tell anybody.
But this is my kind of impostor moment. I'm a bit, if you can see lower, you could tell that I'm a big about beer. Wine. Actually, we have one liver and there's so many products to enjoy. It's really hard to make a choice. And I really like cocktails, of course. But, it's like shoemaker that goes with, that walks in sandals and stuff.
It was also complicated because of supply. You crave this cocktail, you really crave it, but you only have like 3 ingredients in your house. You cannot go. It made like your creativity really boost, but at the same time, there was always a missing link in the cocktail you wanted to do.
It was a good part of having opened a bar fully stocked and closed, and there's a pandemic. It's like, ooh, I have access to so many things right now. So there was that too.
Okay, so I feel like we should come back to the lightning round when we need like a pick-me-up in the conversation, because I really want to talk about your menus right now and what you did come up with, because like maybe COVID was a great opportunity to experiment and come up and tweak. Like you were going to open in March, and so theoretically you already had a menu in place for that, but you also kind of had an idea for a theme that was going to happen, and that theme didn't happen. So can you tell me like what has changed since March in terms of the menu, in terms of the themes, in terms of what the bar actually is?
I'll do the first part and I'll let Kalina. But the menu that was designed for when Kalina arrived was all about Japan. So we already had a couple of pop-up bars in the place to just to keep things started and to be able to learn how to do. I never ran a bar. I don't want to run a real quote-unquote bar. So we had some time to learn. So it was Japan. I went back from Japan. I spent 2 weeks there. We were invited by Japanese government to tour and sample many things. And since we already dealt a lot with Japan, that trip, we came back with tons of cool ingredients. So it was, and we were in good relationship with the Japanese agricultural minister, government ambassador here. So we had a real joint plan of doing cocktails with, in Laval, there's a young lady named Tiki. She grows yuzus, she grows Buddha's hand, a lot of cool stuff. So it was really kind of a cultural exchange with them. But then what happened? So we had the whole cool decor of thing we brought back and everything. But after the COVID, we wanted something fresh to start anew. So we just put everything on the ice. The Japan thing will come back, but we decided to go somewhere else. and I'll let Kelly.
I think there's also a matter of temperature. Like the menu was created for the winter, and I think it's very important. Like it would have been the easy way to just recycle that theme during the summer, but the timing was not there. Like we really wanted to go like full on tiki, full of colors, like just fresh drinks, the drinks that people missed, like the margaritas, the daiquiris, the palomas. I think it was more this, like the Japanese one. I'm very super proud of the work I did in creating the whole menu, but it was a bit more, I don't like saying this, but it was a bit more like intellectual, and we felt like this was not the mood right now at all. Like, yeah.
We're talking about comfort cocktails.
Yeah.
This is what we aim for.
Yeah. But it's got to be back for sure, because there was some very, very delicious cocktails.
Yeah, it's not gone forever. And so what I understand is you're still doing your themes that run for a month. Is that the case?
Maybe more. We don't have a set of rules.
It's again a question of temperature. I think when it's gonna get colder, we're gonna change the theme. So if it's like end of September, beginning of October, like something like this, but it has to be with the sun, the light, and yeah, I think this will choose for us.
Okay.
The idea is that we don't rush things or put everything in a box. Like every equinox and every solstice we change. No. So when we get tired, when we're gonna get tired of making the same cocktails, when we get tired of saying the same thing, when we feel that our customers, went around the whole thing. So it's really a creative space.
Right.
So
I feel like you're being a bit of a tease about the menu, because you're telling me that you're having these very fresh drinks. And I know I'm staring at syrups behind you. I'm staring at all these beautiful, and what you talked about, Jean-Sebastien, too, all these flavors, all these additions. So you can make a regular daiquiri. I know you can do that. I know you can do tiki drinks, but can you describe one or two drinks on your menu, like in minute detail?
Yeah, of course. So what I really like is the Louis Louis. So it's a drink made out of gentiane, which is a very bitter root. And there's a product on the market that's called Suze. But in Montreal, it's very complicated. The availability is very complicated. So we kind of decided to make our own. So we only use like a bar spoon for this cocktail. It's extremely bitter. So it's going to be this with a bit of les îles, some kind of Québécois apérol, and then a bit of vodka. The vodka is really there like to let shine all the other ingredients. And then we use a calamansi, so calamansi syrup. And it really plays on the clementine notes, like bitter clementine. It tastes like a savory orange popsicle. That's how I like to describe it, like a bitter French popsicle. Yeah, it's very,
that
I like
delicious.
Yeah, you're gonna have to try them all. So maybe I'm gonna do small portions for you when you
yes,
come.
please. I can't handle that much.
Yeah, and came up with a very cool cocktail mix. So it's a zombie. So zombie, typical Caribbean like tiki cocktail with rum. It's a boozy cocktail, so with rum. But we made it. We wanted to like showcase the strawberry, the summer, the spirit of summer. So it's a strawberry zombie. So you have all the pineapple, the falernum, which is a spicy syrup. We have all of this, but we added a bit of strawberry. It's the most popular right now. Like they're all pretty even, but this one, it's really a head turner. Like it comes in a very big tiki glass with straws and everything. So people are really excited to drink it, and it's actually very good. It's tough to make tiki drinks that are not too sweet. So
yeah, thanks for showing the glasses there, Jean-Sebastien. They're lots of fun. So you have
the tiki thing, because we work with makers that make just small run of really intricate tiki mugs. So we just have like few of each. So usually in the store, when people know that we get the latest arrival, just vanishes. But by having the small bar behind, they get like a longer life where people can enjoy them, use them, albeit not owning them. But at least I like them to be some sort of in a showcase for a bit longer time to more people than just a few lucky ones.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned before that you never intended on opening a bar, being a bar owner. Why did you originally want to open the Alkadémie?
Basically, the core model always been knowledge and passion transmission. So when customers when it started back in the day, 2011, store in 2012. So I was by myself in the store and people were coming in and they planned to stay like 5 minutes, but we ended up chatting for like an hour and they got curious and interested. And I realized that other people shared the same passion. I often describe the store as a front for all my hobbies and vices, pretty much. And well, lucky I am because, you know, there's not only me that is into all of those things. So for me, because of the regulation also in Quebec, where alcohol or laws are so stiff that, you know, let's say we would have done the same thing in Europe where you can, you know, make a small cocktail on the side, have the customer sample, nobody says a thing. Here, I would have been handcuffed and thrown in jail. So the only way to play around with booze, well, is to have the bottle stamped and to be, you know, by the book. So for me, the Alkadémie was an extension of that wheel of sharing passions, and so it became kind of the practical part. So towards the theory in a way, and here it's hands-on. You can so an absinthe fountain remains a bit abstract for people when they see it. It's beautiful, it's all shiny, but they just cross the door and they can try it. So, and we have like, you can have a flight of 4 or 5 Quebec absinthe for like $25, I think.
The bar is like IKEA, you know, the back section of IKEA, like where everything is showcased. Like this is the bar. It's the same thing.
But it's sleeping over usually.
Yeah, no.
Right.
But,
I hope not.
so this was the idea. Also, we developed a lot of menus and concepts for many institutions, be it the Casino de Montréal or Montréal en Lumière, Ciel Canada, La Grande Dégustation. So we needed a place where we could host those tasting, have those development, and also this basic need and idea kind of became the germ, and from that we added, you know, new creative idea. As you may have seen, we really wanted, but still want to have an international bartender come in.
Yeah. Is that going to still work, by the way?
Yeah, of course. Actually, the first one was supposed to come was a Japanese bartender to kind of close the loop at the end of the summer, but we'll postpone probably for next spring. But the idea was, I'm talking with the ITHQ and Ville de Montréal to have a small budget to send a young local bartender to that place, have over a bartender that will bring some spices, some element, but mostly use their own technique to work with local ingredients, and have that person paired with local bartender, and ideally make masterclass. So what we had developed for Japan is to grow a Japanese garden, because Montreal and Hiroshima are twin cities that are paired. So to have seeds from Hiroshima that we can grow here of leafy like shiso or different herbs that don't travel really well from Japan. So we would do that at the Lava location I told you about, where they have all their citruses and everything. So basically, to have a talented Japanese bartender come in, we have some herbs and spices grown locally that he can relate with, and to bring a bunch of local bartenders, have them pick these herbs, the fruits, come here, and with his guidance, they'll create Japanese-style cocktails, and that knowledge remains in Montreal. And you can really see in Montreal, or I guess everywhere, when influence bartenders have. Sometimes it's really like an idea that someone brought, like a way to shake, a method with the spoon, a specific ingredients, and it really goes into like, you know, color into a stream of water. You can really follow it and see who got the idea from whom.
Like a lineage of a cocktail.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, the realization of this made me realize that we need more and more outside influence and local people to go outside and bring back, so we don't become all like fond of ourselves.
Yeah.
And right goal.
Well, I remember in the Eater article you were mentioning how like a little bit behind Montreal is, and so this would be a way to catch up a little bit to get those outside influences.
We made huge inroads since then, but others. So I mean, the ultimate goal is to have Montreal put on the map as much as we can, cocktail-wise, and cocktail is an Anglo-Saxon thing mostly. Everything, and to have a platform, like us that import a lot, distribute a lot, work a lot. That's from Montreal. It's just a small velvet thing that it's just fun. And we work a lot with Toronto, with Calgary, with Vancouver, and it's really, we want, of course, Montreal to grow, but it's really a Canadian thing that we want the influences to travel, and actually the whole Canadian community is quite tightly knit, and to be at a good level, to be able to partner up with people from Toronto, from Vancouver.
Yeah. Well, speaking of partnering, I'm wondering how, Kalina, how did you get involved?
I kidnapped her, basically.
Good job.
No, but I was working in a restaurant. I've been working in a restaurant for like 15 years now, and I learned from a very, very talented bartender at a past job I worked at, and I really enjoyed it because I used to study more wine, but wine is very, you learn it in books, then you try it, but there's no creativity involved at all. Like you open a bottle, you taste it, you make people happy, that's perfect. But to me, making drinks, it's more like cooking. Like there's a lot of freedom, you can do anything. So that was something that I was very interested in, and I like the contract. Like I like the whole picture, like the designing the room, like everything from making the playlist to painting tables to creating the cocktails, like from A to Z to having all of that. It's very fun. And like people that know me, they come and they say that it's like if they were in my backyard and I would make them drink. So to have the freedom to have all my identity like in a whole place, that is something that working in a restaurant, I could not have achieved that. So it was a very, very fun challenge. And to change it every season is even better. It's like, I'm a very big cinema fan, and I find it's a bit like working on a stage or on a plateau de tournage.
A film.
Very cinematographic about all of it. Like, so that's the other part of the challenge that really, that made that I was the perfect person to do this.
Right. So then you were, expecting to start back in March. You're a 30-person space, so you're a small space. And now you've decided that it's the time to open. How did you make that decision?
Well, it's not really that we made a decision. Really, we go with the flow. And for me, running a business is just dealing with lots of challenges and just basically winging it as much as we can. So there was no point of waiting more than needed. So once we were comfortable with safety that we had, because I'm quite proud of the way it was set up with all the plexiglass in between tables that are there to protect, but you can barely see them. We work with Circa Distillery that provided us like a ton of great sanitizer so that it doesn't smell like death. So once this was covered, we decided to open, but with no really PR publicity. So we really had like friends and family at first, so really soft opening. So we gave ourselves a couple of weeks to check if we wouldn't be at each other's throat.
We looked at how people dealt with all of this also like a month before us, and it was very like inspiring because some people like did some wrong things or whatever. So we kind of took it on us to learn from everybody else and then don't do the same mistake after, because we had no rush. We had no rush. So that's the good point. I think that's why we did it the way it is and that it's working. It's because we really took our time and figured it out before, not just like jumping in blindly.
Yeah.
This is a big luck we have with this place. That it's part of a bigger picture where we supply. So we have offices, warehouse where we supplies lots of restaurants and other stores than ours, the store and online. So we had the time to, we have this place mostly for fun. So it allows us to do the thing at our own pace.
Yeah, and what you were talking about with education, like you obviously are very passionate about cocktails, and like I would love to talk about old fashions with you for another 2 hours, kind of thing. It's like that would be a lot of fun for me, and probably for a lot of your customers. And I know classes are part of the business model for the space as well. I'm wondering, are you going to be doing those in person, or are they going to be online? Like, how has that shifted?
We'll do them in person.
Yeah.
So we had classes for almost a year now, and they went really well, but we were around 15 to 20 people. So we decided we really checked the spaces, the protection, and we decided to dial down to 10 people, but we will resume them because, tasting classes on Zoom really
That's the main problem, yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to drive around with like big bottles of Chartreuse and drop like 1 ounce here? And
a friend like Michel, she's a teacher of the WSET. So she bottles like gazillions of tiny bottles at drop and then do the Zoom thing.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, she's a saint.
That's full-time work.
Yeah, but actually, so
it is.
What we decided to do it in person, but the same way we open the bar, we go the empirical way. We see, we check how it goes, that the teachers, that the customer are comfortable, the staff too. So if everything is fine and people are comfortable, we will run with that. But we're definitely building quite a lot of online content. So it may not be just a replacement for the class. It will be mostly free online content for everyone that we are building on the different aspect of the business, be it the cocktails, how to choose the glassware, the wine cellar, the Japanese knives. So both are not mutually exclusive.
Okay. And so you're going to have cocktail classes, you're going to have wine classes, beer classes, whiskey. What are all the options?
Much that. So we have natural wine and cocktail. Both are given by Kalina. We have a class with an absolutely amazing rum teacher. She helps importer to get good rum, but she was a judge in international competition in the Caribbean for years. She was writing for a rum magazine in Europe. So she really knows her thing. For whiskey, we have the president and founder of Whiskey Montreal, he's such a gentleman and patient and knowledgeable. But all the type of people that they won't push their knowledge, down your throat. They really are super passionate, and they understand that they are kind of stepping stones, and you go gradually, and they love to share. The guy that gave the beer class for Mondial Labia for years over with us, Serge Noël. We have what do we have?
And we're currently working on it like wine, but like second level. So people that really love it, we want back and just learn more things that I didn't have time to say in the first class. I think that's part two. We want to create this just that people, they come and take one class and they love the format. So they come back, and the class I gave, the wine class, it was really people that would give each other this for Christmas. And I think it's a very cool gift. So we might, This
is the way we work. We have a lot of classes open online, and people can pick the time they want. But also when they give, let's say, gift certificate for a class, you don't have to select in advance that, hey, I give you a class for cocktail. It can be just, you can get a class and then you choose what you want. So some customer did, okay, well, I like whiskey, and the person thought of me for whiskey, but you know what, right now it's for gin I'm into. So they took the gin class, and we're having also a sake class coming.
Yes.
The great Asma from the Deserteur. So she's a good friend of ours. She also gives classes and events, but instead of competing, we decided to join forces because we have the chance of having a space, a room that is already all set with the right protection and everything, but we don't use it 24/7. So we decided to partner up for things. We don't do sake, and we love sake. We love sake, so she will be joining in for these classes.
Cool.
So yeah, it's actually, I'll tell you, the inspiration for this tiny place was the fee center on a budget about booze. It was basically that.
Oh, yeah. So they have all their VR and their programming, the multidisciplinary. They have films. They have interactive displays.
Yeah. We have hard time setting up Zoom on iPhone. So that's, I drew a line.
So it's not high tech, but it's multidisciplinary, essentially.
We have a guy for that. Like, we have a guy that specializes in this, so we don't have to do this. So we curate the stuff. Yeah, it's all good.
Because when we do events here, we have we're fully equipped for. I'm a photographer as well, but we have a real cinema guy that studied in cinema and video. So we often shoot videos here for brands. We did, Kalina did a great thing. We worked with Ubisoft, so they wanted us to design special cocktail for them. So we designed 3 cocktails that match video games they released. And so we set a small kit, so it's 4 ounces cocktail in small bottles, shelf stable, and their staff could just order online or pick it up. And then we did the live Zoom where Kalina explained the cocktail and everything, and people could do it at the same time from their home.
Right.
So
yeah, it was very fun.
A twist on the Zoom apéro, but it was pretty cool.
That is a lot of fun. Especially, you mentioned, you're not open all the time, so you have this opportunity to do all these other things with the space, but also with your own time. You're open 3 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And this is a core element. The sunset should have been much more simple for me, just to let's be a ball and run with it instead of doing all those tiny weird events. But it's really what we are.
That's the fun stuff.
And so we really decided to box ourselves. It's 3 days. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. And to me, it's fun too, because as long as I love bartending, I would not do it like 5 times a week. I would not do that because it's exhausting. Right now, even with the measures and everything, like it's very exhausting. Mm-hmm. So to have these little projects that I can just jump in and like do something else, it's super fun. It really changes the routine. It's very the best part of it.
Because you see the 2 of us, but we are about 16 in the company. So we have a lot of people helping for different aspects of the whole project.
That's the first half of my conversation with Kalina César and Jean-Sébastien Michel of the new cocktail bar Alkadémie Alambika. For the rest of that conversation, tune in again next week. We'll talk more about restaurant trends in the city, bar trends, what the government's been doing to help and hinder bars, and a few more lightning round questions that actually go pretty quickly because, well, Kalina has to go to work. So maybe I should have more of these cocktail podcasts before my guests have to go work. Have a great week and sip something delicious wherever you are.